My dear brothers and sisters, we gather today not just as a community of faith, but as a world searching for meaning, for hope, for a spark that lights the path forward. Imagine a moment that could reshape history, a single choice that could ripple across continents, touching the hearts of over 1 billion souls. What if the next leader of the Catholic Church, the successor to a 2,000-year legacy, is standing at the edge of destiny right now? Whispers are swirling through the ancient corridors of the Vatican, and one name rises above the rest, a name that carries the weight of humility, the fire of compassion, and the promise of a new era. Could Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, the charismatic son of the Philippines, be the man chosen to lead the Church into an uncharted future? Let's step into this story, a tale of faith, humanity, and the quiet power of a single life to change the world. Picture the Vatican, its golden domes gleaming under the Roman sun, a place where time seems to stand still, yet the winds of change are never far away. Every few decades, the world turns its eyes to this tiny city-state, waiting for a puff of white smoke to signal the arrival of a new pope. The pope is no ordinary leader. He is a shepherd for 1.3 billion Catholics, a voice for the voiceless, a bridge between heaven and earth. His words can soothe nations, challenge empires, or inspire a child in a distant village to dream of a better tomorrow. From St. Peter, the fisherman who walked with Jesus, to Pope Francis, the humble Jesuit from Argentina, the papacy has been a thread of continuity in a world that never stops changing. But what does it mean to be pope today, in a time of division, doubt, and digital noise? And why does one man, born in a modest home in Manila, seem to hold the key to the Church's next chapter? To understand this, we must first look at the man who has redefined the papacy for our time. Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica in 2013, a smile as warm as the spring air, and the world knew something was different. He was the first pope from the Americas, the first Jesuit, the first to take the name Francis, honoring the saint who embraced poverty and peace. From the start, he shunned the trappings of power, choosing a simple room over a palace, a small car over a limousine. He washed the feet of prisoners, embraced refugees, and spoke of a church that must be a field hospital for the wounded of the world. His words, like "Who am I to judge?" when asked about LGBTQ Catholics, sent shockwaves, not because they changed doctrine, but because they carried a mercy that felt new, raw, and real. Francis's life began in Buenos Aires, in a working-class family of Italian immigrants. He saw poverty up close, the kind that grinds hope into dust, and it shaped him. As a priest, then a bishop, he rode buses, cooked his own meals, and listened to the stories of the forgotten. As pope, he has called out the scandal of inequality, urging leaders to put human dignity above profit. His encyclicals, like Laudato Si', weave faith with a cry for the planet, demanding we care for our common home. He has built bridges with Muslims, Jews, and even atheists, signing a historic declaration of fraternity in Abu Dhabi, proving that love can speak louder than dogma. Yet, not everyone cheers. Some within the Church call him too progressive, too quick to challenge tradition. Others say he hasn't gone far enough. At 88, his steps are slower, his voice softer, and the weight of his mission grows heavier. He has spoken openly of his mortality, even hinting at resignation if he can no longer serve. And so, the question looms: who will carry his torch? The answer lies in a process as old as the Church itself, yet as mysterious as a whispered prayer. When a pope dies or steps down, the seat of St. Peter, the Holy See, falls vacant. The world holds its breath, and the cardinals, those princes of the Church, gather in Rome. Only those under 80 can vote, about 120 men from every corner of the globe, reflecting the Church's universal heart. They enter the Sistine Chapel, beneath Michelangelo's frescoes of creation and judgment, and swear an oath of secrecy. The doors lock, cum clave, with a key, and the conclave begins. Each cardinal writes a name on a ballot, folding it with care, placing it in a chalice. The votes are counted, and if no one wins 2/3, the ballots are burned with chemicals that send black smoke curling into the sky. The crowd in St. Peter's Square sighs, and the process repeats. But when a name finally emerges, when the spirit moves through those sacred walls, the ballots burn clean, and white smoke rises. A new pope is born. This ritual is more than a vote. It is a dance of faith and discernment, a belief that God's hand guides the choice. The cardinals pray, reflect, and weigh the needs of a church stretched across cultures and crises. They seek a man who can speak to the digital age, heal wounds from scandals, and inspire a generation drifting from faith. In the past, popes were often Italian, their names etched in marble across centuries. But the Church is no longer Europe's alone. Latin America, Africa, Asia, these are the new frontiers of faith, where pews overflow and hope burns bright. The election of Francis, an Argentine, broke the mold. Could the next pope shatter it entirely? Enter Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, a man who seems to carry the world's dreams in his smile. Born in 1957 in Manila, he grew up in a family that knew struggle, where love was plentiful but money was not. As a boy, he walked the crowded streets of the Philippines, seeing joy and pain side by side. He became a priest in 1982, his warmth and intellect shining early. He studied in America, earned a doctorate, but never lost the simplicity of his roots. By 2012, Pope Benedict XVI named him a cardinal, recognizing a leader who could touch hearts and minds. Today, as head of Caritas Internationalis, the Church's global charity, Tagle fights for the poor, the displaced, the forgotten. He has led efforts to feed families after typhoons, rebuild lives after wars, and sound the alarm on climate change. His voice is soft, but his resolve is steel. What makes Tagle special is not just what he does, but how he does it. He rides bicycles to meetings, laughs with street vendors, and preaches with stories that make theology feel like a conversation over coffee. His homilies are not lectures. They are invitations to love, to listen, to see God in the eyes of a stranger. Fluent in English, Italian, and Tagalog, he speaks to the world's diversity, a bridge between East and West, rich and poor. In a church often seen as rigid, he is a burst of joy, a reminder that faith can be as simple as a shared meal. He once said, "The church must go to the peripheries, to those who feel invisible." And he lives it, whether visiting refugee camps or comforting survivors of disasters. Tagle's rise comes at a pivotal moment. Asia is the future of Catholicism, with millions embracing the faith in places like India, Vietnam, and the Philippines. Yet, no Asian has ever worn the papal tiara. His election would be a seismic shift, a sign that the Church sees its future in the global South. He embodies the spirit of Francis, humble, pastoral, unafraid to ask hard questions. There are whispers, too, that Francis sees him as his heir. During a 2024 trip to Asia, the Pope met Tagle, their embrace lingering in the humid air of Manila. Some say Francis whispered words of trust, a quiet anointing. "Luis is my choice," he reportedly told a confidant, though the Vatican neither confirms nor denies. Such an endorsement, if true, could sway the conclave, where loyalty to Francis's vision runs deep. But the path to the papacy is never smooth. Tagle is not alone in the race. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Italy's master diplomat, moves through the Vatican's halls with quiet authority. His work with China, his steady hand in crises, makes him a safe choice, a return to tradition. Cardinal Mark Owlett, a Canadian scholar, wields influence over bishops worldwide, his mind sharp as a blade. Cardinal Christoph Schonborn, Austria's bridge builder, speaks of faith with a poet's grace, his interfaith work a beacon in a divided world. Each man carries strengths, each a vision. Yet, Tagle's star burns brightest, not because he seeks it, but because his life seems to answer the Church's deepest needs. Imagine the conclave, the cardinals gathered under the Sistine Chapel's soaring ceiling. The air is heavy with prayer, the weight of history pressing down. Names are written, ballots burned, black smoke rising day after day. Then a shift. A name begins to echo, spoken in accents from Lagos to Seoul. Luis Antonio Tagle. The votes climb, hearts align, and the spirit moves. When the final count is read, a hush falls. He is asked, "Do you accept?" His eyes, wet with tears, meet the room. "Yes," he whispers, choosing a name. Perhaps John, for the beloved disciple, or Peter, for the rock. The white smoke rises, and the square erupts in cheers. Habemus Papam, the cardinal deacon proclaims. We have a pope. What would a Tagle papacy mean? It would be a church that listens before it speaks, that kneels with the poor before it preaches to the powerful. He would likely continue Francis's push for mercy, opening doors to those long pushed away, divorced Catholics, LGBTQ believers, the skeptical, and the searching. He would amplify the cry for justice, challenging systems that crush the vulnerable. His Asian roots would bring new voices to the Vatican, priests and nuns from villages and megacities, their stories reshaping the Church's soul. He would face resistance, of course. Conservatives might call him too liberal, skeptics might doubt his ability to heal old wounds. Scandals, from clergy abuse to financial mismanagement, would test his resolve. Yet, Tagle's life suggests he is ready, not because he is perfect, but because he knows how to love through imperfection. This is not just a story of one man. It is a story of us, of what we hope for when we look to leaders, to faith, to the future. The Catholic Church, for all its flaws, has endured because it carries a message that transcends time, that love is stronger than fear, that hope can outlast despair. Whether Tagle becomes pope or not, his life challenges us to ask, who are we called to be? How do we build a world where no one is invisible? As the Vatican's chimneys stand silent for now, the world waits, not just for a name, but for a vision. Will it be Tagle, the man who carries Asia's heart and the Church's dreams? Or will another rise, guided by the same spirit that has led for centuries? The answer lies beyond our sight, in the hands of those who will gather, pray, and choose. But the question is ours to hold. What kind of church, what kind of world do we want? Tagle's story reminds us that leadership is not about power, but about service, not about answers, but about questions asked with love. So, let us watch, let us pray, let us dream. And when the white smoke rises, let us hope for a leader who sees us all, from the slums of Manila to the spires of Rome, as one family, bound by faith, by struggle, by the quiet miracle of being human. Who would you choose to lead that family? The choice is not yet made, but the story is already unfolding. Will you be part of it?